Hi, I'm Luke Juby. I'm here at Music Store in Cologne. So we've got the Modi XM series here today. I've already done a video getting into the nitty gritty of what's new and how the engines and stuff work. We're just going to go through a few sounds really on this one. So I do have to mention like the three different engines you got in here, really to sort of like talk about what we're going to play. And the AWM2 engine is basically anything you can record with a mic, so your pipe organs and stuff, and it's based on samples. So you've got beautiful pianos. So there's the big Imperial. Let's try a piano from Hamburg. And then a piano from Yamaha. So the big CFX. So I was playing this one earlier. It made me feel like I was playing some Peter Gabriel type stuff, and so we can start like layering up the pads and stuff behind pianos. And I've got my super knob here that I can use my foot so I can bring in effects and. It's got the U1 upright as well. This was, I think I first found this one on the CP88. And what's lovely about this is uprights, I always feel, could be like quite personal. Like you're sitting in your mum's home rather than in a massive, huge concert hall, because the Imperial's like 9 foot or something like long. And an upright, your gran used to have them at home. And so this is... And you can probably hear that that's actually almost slightly out of tune. And it gives that sort of like a real a beauty to it, I think. I played it briefly on the other video, a felt piano. So this is the one where a bit of felt just comes in between the strings and you get this lovely, soft... So often these have effects behind them. So there's a bunch of pianos. Obviously, Yamaha are pretty famous for electric pianos in the DX7, those sort of like classic 80s ones. But also, you've got a whole bunch of tined and reed instruments. So these were often put through guitar ramps as well. So you can add drive, you can add things like phases and chorus and tremolos. Don't know if I can play how much you can play like of other songs and stuff, but you can definitely hear some of the songs that these old classic 70s electric pianos had. Then you've got the reeds, which are the... Let's find another one, funky one. Moving on, I'm sure we're going to get into the land of FM. So in this keyboard, the second engine is the DX type sound, so the FMX, so frequency modulation, which can create these lovely bell type. Let's find another one. Actually, there's probably another keyboard as well that we might have not have found there. On the pianos, maybe. It's not in there. So this is the other way to search. You can press category. I can either like choose piano or keyboard or anything like that, or I can turn it off as well. I'm going to search for CP. And this will find us like the old classic CP80. And that was like a Yamaha keyboard back in the 70s or 80s again. Phil Collins used it a lot on those sort of like type sounds. Going back to the live set, so we've done a few keyboards. I mentioned in the other video, we've got more faders this time. So we've got the ability to actually pull more drawbars out on organs. So you can actually bring in your different harmonics. I'll show you on the screen. Actually, we can see here. Here's our drawbar representation. And obviously, like rotary speaker effects. So that's a really neat thing. Obviously, AWM2 will start getting into like guitars and all sorts of stuff going on as well. So I could come here, category search, and let's find a few guitars. So. That's a bit rubbish. Let's find another one. So. So now we can actually spin through a lot of these with these new knobs that are underneath. Nylon Dreams. Let's see what this one does. So I haven't had one of these, so I'm actually getting through listening to the sound sometimes for the first time, and as I say, some of them are lovely. So moving on, so we've got ANX in here for the first time, and this is like an analog engine that can create huge pads, huge lead sounds. So like things like the old CS80, which is Yamaha's huge thing. Sometimes people are trying to sell them for like 50,000 euros. And we can get to things like cutoff. So in this keyboard, there's tons of ways to make different sounds. You've got this thing called motion control over here, and you've got its own sequencer and like you've got ARPs, all sorts of stuff that you can create absolutely sort of crazy sort of sonic spaces. That sort of thing like that, where it's pumping, you can also do that around other inputs. So you could actually have it have a drummer's kick drum coming in, and you could get the synth pumping around it. Some really clever features you can get in on the geeky side. So again, so some cool lo-fi stuff. Let's try some big cinema action. As I say, sound effects on that one. And then some orchestral stuff, maybe. What's really cool about this, actually, is you can see they're playing around with the cutoff. You've got the visual representation now on the screen of showing where the filter is. But that also works as well with how we can change the sound on the fly by sort of changing the attack. Yeah. So again, it's got tons of sounds in here. So whatever your genre, I mean, there's oboes, there are like proper dance stuff. There's a whole load of drum beats and all sorts of stuff that you can get your hands on. You can play sort of dancey stuff, and you can play with cut-off and resonance and. And actually, there's a whole load of, so you could actually bring in very quickly as well if we wanted to just get a piano, and it's very easy to just grab a drum beat and so we're going to do shift and pan and bring in some real drums. Tap tempo it up. Yeah, so there's just plenty of stuff in here to play with. For example, I mean, we've gone through some categories. Let's have a look again. So we've done some keyboards, we've done some guitars. As I say, there were some classic DX7 sounds in here. So if I put in harmonica, this is. And there is a bass guitar in here that is on everything. Let's find a bass. That was just on like so many 70s, 80s, sorry. Let's go through a few bass sounds. Let's find a few. So I got upright bass. So if I wanted to, for example, I've got that bass now. It'd be very easy to just bring in a piano above it, and now I could be like. But actually, what's happened there, we've now got a layer. But this is a new thing on this one. I can now do a split, and I can say that I want the bass to be on the left, and I want the piano to be on the right, and I can say a split point, and I want it to be here, and now I can be, hopefully, up and away. And that's quite a new feature on this, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, so the Modi XM series, I mean, you're going to come down and find the sounds that you want to play. Definitely get some headphones on and come and give it a play here at the Music Store. Music Store in Cologne, biggest shop I've ever seen for music.